Alrighty, guys. Hello. I hope everybody is having a happy Wednesday. Today is just going to be a live stream with my mom where you guys can ask any kind of question, whether it's about me or to her, or if you guys have any questions about adoption. Please let me know if you guys can hear us okay. I was gifted a better mic today. My mom purchased a better mic, so hopefully the sound quality is better, and I will continue to work on that, make sure it gets good. But please let me know if you guys can hear us okay. So while we wait for people to get in, just in case anybody didn't watch our last stream, Mom, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm happy to. I'm Patsy. I'm Amanda's adopted mom, as somebody asked me. And I watch her show usually, behind the scenes. So I'm not interacting too much, but I'm really tickled to be here because I absolutely adore you guys. I mean, I have cried over the support you have given her and just how touching you are with her and with each other. So really happy to be a proud of your little group.
Yes. So thank you, Lisa, for clarifying that you can hear just fine. You also commented on my hair. This was an event today that we decided to undertake. We actually attempted to do like a darker purple blue a few nights ago, and it didn't take. So we went and got some bleach, which I've never bleached my hair before, and like a fuchsia color, which it's just a couple of different shades here and there, but it turned out all right.
And I have no girly skills, so I have never done that, and it was just a blast. She was so trusting, and I had not a clue what I was doing, but it was a blast. I loved it, and we'll try it again.
All right. Hey, Sue. Hey, Kazoodles. Hey, Miss Cassandra. Hey, Maximum Effort. Thank you guys for the compliments on the hair.
Yeah, I appreciate it more than she does.
She's the one who actually did it. I let her have fun and mess with it because I don't have the kind of personality to really care about my appearance. So if something had gone wrong, I would have been fine with it. So, hey, Brittany. Hey, Kathy Ann. How are you guys doing? I hope everybody is having a good evening. So feel free whenever you guys have any questions. Like I said, they can be directed to either one of us or about adoption or the process or anything like that. Of course, we're pretty open, but if there is a topic that a specific question that ends up being asked and we don't answer it, it's not so much because we don't want to share. It's because a lot of people really do become involved with the adoption process. And there's certain people that have been involved that there's still relationships with, even though things may have happened when I was younger that were perceived differently by each one of us. We're not going to go too much into detail about some things, and I hope you guys understand that, but we will try to answer everybody's questions to the best of our ability. So,
and that's for their privacy, not ours.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you guys again for everybody else who's coming in and complimenting the hair. It is a semi-permanent, so you guys will start to see it fade over the next couple of weeks or however long it takes. Hey, Stina. Hey, Not Another Housewife. Hey, Cheryl. Thank you guys for joining. We have our first question, and it states, do you feel like adopted children are the wanted ones?
I do. I mean, they're never an oopsie or, doing it for money or something. I just think when you adopt, you usually just adore children, and you want to add to your own circle at the same time as you want to give them, a better chance of feeling like they belong and that they are truly loved.
Yeah. And I haven't gone too much into detail. I've mentioned it before, but My husband and I will not be able to conceive naturally. So when we do decide to have children, we will most likely adopt. We're just not to that point in our lives yet. So I think adopted children are wanted children. Also, my experience was a little bit different because I was in the system for so long. But that's not typical. It's really not a typical scenario. And we have to also keep in mind that was 20 years ago, and a lot of states have gotten a lot better with passing laws and restrictions on how long the state can keep children in foster care before they start promoting them for adoption.
And I think more of the sad or horrible stories we hear usually comes more from foster care than adoption, because foster parents are given money to take those children in the home. And I'm sure there are some people who take too many just to have that be their money source. But you're not when you're adopted.
Mm-hmm.
So there kind of seems like that might be a more of a safety line, that they're not doing it for the money, because they're going to be paying for you just like they do their other kids if they have other kids.
Yeah. So one question that we have is, when did she decide she was going to become a foster mom? And she wasn't a foster mom. She just adopted me.
I flat out told them, I will not foster. I only want Amanda. And, I went to all the parent classes with my husband, and they were good. They really were. And it did help us. But every day I filled out the form. I am only adopting. If you send her home with me, I will never give her back. So they knew that.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched my playlist of my experience in foster care and my experience with adoption, you may not know, but I was actually a foster child for someone that my mom is friends with. And she was my foster parent, and she wanted to know where I was at academically. So she put me in her class. And then she was a single woman. So their family often invited her and me, clearly, to do events and some holidays. So they kind of got to know me through that. And it really wasn't an all the time thing. It was sporadic, random events. So they did kind of know me beforehand. And there is a little bit of backstory that we're not going to go too much into detail with, but I ended up being available for adoption. And since she knew me and the family knew me, she didn't want me to go back into foster care. So she went home and told my dad that they're going to adopt me. And then they started the process on the back end. And I didn't know until it was approved. So That's the quick snippet version of how they got to know me, why I ended up being adopted by them. And if you're interested, I do go a little bit more into detail in my playlist videos, but you don't have to feel compelled. If you have any questions, like I said, we're going to answer to the best of our ability without tarnishing anybody's privacy that is not a part of our family that we don't feel comfortable discussing.
And I felt bad for Amanda, because I had no clue about some of her feelings until I watched her videos. And think of how I felt as her mom. I didn't know what she struggled with. I didn't know how hard some things were. I didn't know what had happened to her in the past. I mean, just for some examples, I'm a retired elementary school teacher, and I refused to look at the records of any kids that were being placed in my room. And that's usually the first thing teachers do. They want to know, who's extra bright and who has behavior problems. Kept that a closed book. I wanted just to know them from the year that I had them. And I did the same thing with Amanda. I didn't read anything in her file. I didn't want to know. I wanted to get to know her, the two of us. And I only had her the last 3 weeks of school. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine, I didn't know her that well from there. And I probably only saw her 5 other times by hanging with, her foster mom and her. My husband had only met her 1 time. And I came home and I said, we're going to adopt Amanda. And he just looked at me and he goes, okay. And the good thing about that is our oldest daughter is mine from my first marriage. Then we had a son, her brother, who's 5 years younger than her, before we got Amanda. And it kind of shows he's a pretty good guy. He took on my oldest daughter. We had a child, and then I just said, we're going to adopt her. And they clicked quicker than we did.
Mm-hmm.
He got her. She got him. She adored him. I mean, he would carry her. Well, that's another topic we could get into, to learn how to bond, hold her on his lap.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that later. I'll let you go into some of your questions. But he helped me learn how to love her way.
So another question is, what moment made you feel that I was your daughter?
Okay, first I have to say, Dr. A, I'm so happy to see you on here. Pineapple on pizza is the only way to go. And thanks for everybody welcoming me here. But yeah, I know it's Dr. A. You're my pineapple pizza guy, right? Or girl, I don't know. I've never looked, but we're soulmates on that. Okay, how did I know she was my daughter? Okay,
What moment?
What moment? Oh, wow. That's tough. I think, I don't think there was a single moment. It's kind of stages and levels you work up to. And maybe it was the first time somebody asked me about my kids, and I talked about them, and they say, well, didn't you adopt one of them? And I was like, oh yeah, Amanda, she's adopted. So I think it's like it wasn't even conscious in my head. But I'm sure it happened way before that. But that was the first time it really hit me, like, I'm not thinking that way. She's always been mine, you know?
Yeah. So let's see. You do not know, Jean, to answer your question, you do not have to be a foster parent before you become an adopted parent. If you have any interest in adopting, you can go to whatever child agency in your area and start the process that way. If you're interested in fostering, you have to go through whatever CPS your city or state county has and start the process that way. So you can adopt independently. There's a lot of different kinds of adoption types, for a lack of a better way of explaining. Yeah. And if you guys are interested in that, I'm open to doing a video to kind of explain adoption, because a lot of people don't really understand that there's different kinds. So you guys can let me know in DMs or in a community post if you guys want that kind of topic to ever happen on the channel. Another question, did I test you and your family to see if you would take me back?
I need to go to the restroom. I'll be back.
Yes, I did. We got into a really bad fight.
One time.
Yep, when I was in, I think it was middle school. Wasn't I just in 6th grade?
No,
was I older than that?
No, you were high school.
Yeah.
Because it was about a boyfriend.
Yeah, it did not go well. I tested her, and I kept telling her just to take me back, that she didn't love me. There was no way she could love me if she was getting on to me about a boy. And, we just screamed at each other, and
we got over it.
Yeah, we did get over it. Another question is, how did you tell me that you wanted to adopt me?
Wow.
Didn't really.
Do you remember it all?
Not. I just remember the school announcement.
The way we told her was actually at kind of a group family event. We were at a bonfire with some very good friends. They weren't around. It was just us. And
I remember falling asleep that night. That's all I remember.
My dad carried you home in his arms. And we just told her that we already cared deeply for her, and we felt that, we could give her a good home, and her brother and sister wanted her to be a part of the family too, and that our love would just grow. And we asked her if she might want to be part of our family. Mm-hmm. And now that I've heard her videos and comments, I guess I shouldn't call it video, but
It's okay.
audio. I don't know if that was such a good way to do it, rather than just ask her yes or no. I should have asked, like, what are some things that make you afraid? What are some things I can do to make you feel that this is a forever place? I said it was forever, but for a child that had been in and out of foster care for 10 years, who's going to believe you with just a simple statement? And I actually feel guilty now, because in my head, I'm just thinking, oh, well, I know we'll be good to her. I know we'll love her. We won't ever hurt her, and we won't give her back. So of course she should want to live with us. But, that's not always necessarily the case. And I've learned a lot, and, I will share it with people now, because people have always asked me about adoption if they've known about Amanda. The funny thing is, some people will think she's my natural daughter, and they'll say, oh, you guys look alike. And we're like, yeah. No reason to tell them differently. So,
and even though I've expressed kind of how I felt during that situation in that time, like looking back and even working in the field, I don't think that there's any right or wrong way. Every child is going to react differently. Every child is going to have different needs. Even if there aren't any extra needs that are there, every child's going to cope with their trauma just like we do as adults. They're all going to cope differently.
That's a great point. And sometimes when you're describing your life and what's happened in it, I always think of mine like a book, and this was chapter 1, 2, whatever. Well, it's kind of like with anytime you're trying to unite a family, to me, it's either that or it's layers of integrating the family together.
Hey, Beauty Demon, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Hey, Shelly. Hey, it's just chat. Hey, Bonnie, trying to say hi to the people who have joined in since we've been talking. Don't feel shy to ask any questions. We did not prepare anything to say or to talk about. So there's plenty that I'm sure we're both easily to talk about stuff. So if questions don't come through, I'm sure we can just start talking about whatever, whether it be family, adoption related. Don't feel your questions have to be related to the adoption.
Oh, no.
I know people are interested in that and want to know from her perspective, but don't feel that you have to keep them straight to that. If you want to ask her questions, if she's comfortable answering them, she will. So don't feel you have to.
And Dr. A, I like the giving me the ones up here, because even though I'm wearing glasses, I cannot see your pictures from here. So I'm with you. I'm on board.
Someone says, I want to join up with your family.
Come on. I'll take you on. Come on. You got to like dogs. We're really big dog lovers, and big dogs.
Maximum effort. I hope you're doing better from your surgery. Was Mom nervous about going on YouTube?
Always, yeah.
We sat down about 10 minutes early, and the whole time she's nudging me. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous. The last one and this one. I thought she'd be better with this one, but she was still just as nervous.
Yeah. And I'm obviously a ham bone, so you would think I'd just be saying, come on, let's go. Let's go.
Our vacation in Vegas,
Woo!
It was fun. It was, we're both still, I think, recovering from staying up late and doing we did a show our first 3 nights, or an activity rather, our first 3 nights. And Saturday, we just kind of walked into casinos and
shopped a little bit.
Yeah, we shopped a little bit and did stuff like that. So
tell them what we did Friday. Because that's kind of one of your bucket things.
We went horseback riding, and that's something that I have done before. But it's something that I've always wanted to kind of not do regularly, but kind of keep up with, do it occasionally as like a special thing. And I've always told my parents that that's something that I would want to do with them if they ever could. And when my mom was planning this trip, she had kept telling me, well, find stuff to do. Well, Vegas had really just opened up. So I didn't know what kind of events were open. And I kept looking and I couldn't find anything. Well, she decided to do it on her own. And she found 3 different events. And one of them was horseback riding. So we got to do an hour-long horseback ride into like a
crevice of a mountain.
Yeah, almost like a cavern. And then we came back and we got to have steak dinner, and it was really fun. And we ended up with having a really good group with us, so that helped a lot. We didn't have anybody who was complaining because it was a long ride and it was hot. I mean, we were in the desert, so it was hot even though we were in the evening time. And everybody had a good time. It was really fun. It was something that neither one of us will forget, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I am not, let's see, I've had a lot of joint surgeries, like a ton. And so the first thing I did was slip one guy a 20 to get me on the horse, and then another guy, another 20 to get me off the horse. I said, if you get me on and off, I can ride and I won't complain. I'll be happy and I'll love it. And it worked.
Luckily, Jean, we don't have hangovers. We never really neither one of us are really big drinkers. Mm-hmm. We're more, us two in the family are more social drinkers than anything, like at a social event or a gathering. We did have
or a holiday.
Yeah. And I mean, we did drink a little bit while we were there, but never enough to become intoxicated where we were dealing with a hangover. That would have been awful because it was hot every day, and it's been even more hot since we've made it home.
And we would have lost even more money, so that's probably good too.
We did not ride the horses down the strip.
No, there was no Lady Godiva stuff going on.
That would have been fun, but that did not happen. It was in a desert.
Oh, you guys, if you haven't been, I like to people watch anyway and just talk to anybody, just to hear, their story. But, oh my gosh. The lack of clothing for one thing, and then what they think is appropriate. Oh my gosh. I always knew I was conservative, but this was like a whole nother layer. It's shocking, but it's so much fun.
All right. Xylee, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
I just read that too. Tell them. In case, they saw it, I imagine.
Vegas is really fun to people. If you're interested in, I know some people don't do it because they feel that they're being judgmental, and I can get that argument, but some of the things that you see and you encounter and the people that you encounter and the different cultures that are there, it really is a fun experience if you're ever able to and you haven't, not even just for like the party atmosphere. I mean, just to experience it and walk down the strip, it's its own experience altogether.
There was this one guy playing roulette, and he won 3 times in a row on number 5. I've never played the game. I don't know anything about it. He had nobody with him to cheer for him, be happy to share it with. So he would do like this rooster strut all around the casino. I mean, it made my day. I didn't care. It was just, I had to go over and congratulate him. I was so happy for him, but that's how he expressed it because he had nobody to share it with.
Hey, Miss Vera. Thank you for joining. Well, I'm happy so many of you guys enjoy having family on the stream.
Me too.
It's always, it's different. You guys know I've collabed before, and it's definitely different having someone next to you versus talking to someone through the computer. It was a little bit different for me to adjust to as well, just to make sure I'm not cutting her off.
She's used to me cutting her off. She just rolls with it.
Did we see Steve McCrae? No, we did not. I see that you're just kidding, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't really. I I've walked the strip before, but we didn't really walk the entire strip. We walked about a block and a half.
Which sounds really bad, but it's longer than you think.
And that was long enough in the heat. So we really didn't walk the full strip. We were lazy tourists and took taxis.
Yeah, we did. We'll blame it on my age.
Beauty Demon asks if you will start your own channel soon.
Oh my gosh. You guys, I would wear you out. This is me without alcohol or medicine. Can you imagine? I'm like hyper anyway. I'd probably have to get up, move around, and go do stuff. And I felt bad for some of you when we did the other live, that because you were asking me questions about my anxiety and that, and your words were all on that side, so I couldn't see any of it. I don't know if Amanda can set you up to ask me later, but I can really relate with a lot of your comments, and I would answer you back if I had a way.
I'm trying to see. I'm trying to look over the mic. I'm sorry if that's distracting.
Cooking with Mama. Oh, Sue M, come on.
Not only that, I will say my mom is extremely technologically challenged.
That was not nice, but very true.
I mean, I struggle with setting up my equipment and figuring everything else out with my stuff. I could not imagine her trying to. She could learn it if she wanted to, but I don't think she'd take the time.
I don't even know how to run a computer. I mean, if you get me set up, I can maneuver it, but I'm bad. I've even have had people ask me, do I have a magnetic problem? And I'm like, what? And it's because if you pass me a phone or if I touch your computer, it's going to go black. I don't know why. Everything I touch is a black screen. I feel like I'm not touching anything. But yeah, I'm really bad, really bad. Only my singing is worse than that.
No, they don't do that anymore. Maximum effort. I'm not going to say what the question is because of YouTube, but they don't do that anymore. They still have like the showgirls who are very minimally dressed with like pasties and skimpy underwear and fishnets with like the big feathered
or no
wings.
Underwear was the worst.
But they don't actually hand out the cards and they're not scattered on the ground anymore. They don't do that anymore. I do not know how you walked around in stilettos.
Oh, no.
Period.
Painful.
Avoid the strip in general, but I can't walk in stilettos. I am not the most graceful individual there is. You guys don't see me walking around or anything, but I'm very much clumsy and klutzy to where I'm the kind of person who trips over my own feet.
And back to Sue M. I can cook, and I used to cook all the time. But the older I get and with the kids out of the house, I'm kind of like, yeah, got one pork chop left, and I think I'll have popcorn. Here you go, honey. It's just a little bit more of a fend for yourself, probably. I don't know. I probably cook 3 nights a week and fend for yourself 3, and maybe we pick up 1. I don't know. Something like that.
So you have a question. How did you cope with the trauma of 2020 and being so far away from me?
Ugh, awful. I have aged. Like people used to say I look good for my age. Oh my golly. It's like all of a sudden I got 10 years on me in 1 year's time, especially because I'm very social. You know, I want to be with people and talk to people. I did catch up on some stuff. And I wrote more letters, and Amanda knows I'm a big card person. I probably have sent 12 since I've been here. Mm-hmm. So I will reach out, but I would much rather be in person. And being away from Amanda was the worst, especially because I got to see her sister because her sister's husband was overseas for the whole year. And she had 3 tiny kids. So I'm like, I knew in February it was going to be bad of 2020. As soon as I knew that, I got in the car and I drove to her. And I stayed 3 months. more than 3 months,
I don't know. It was a while.
to help her. And then she came back to me, and then she came back again to me, and her brother had moved back in. So it was just Amanda that I wasn't getting to see. And that's because my doctors didn't want me to go anywhere. They actually don't know I went to my oldest daughter's. So, and I definitely couldn't fly until I could get both vaccinations. So it was, my husband didn't want me to go, and it was just kind of like, I can't leave her. She's got 3 little kids, and it was something.
Yeah,
How did some of you cope with that? Because I know it hit people hard. I mean, depression, anxiety just went off the charts for everyone, not to mention all the people we lost. So I don't know, what are some of the things you guys did to get you through it? And are you where you feel like you can go out now? Because once I was like a month after my second shot, I was kind of like, I'm done. I'm going to see my girl.
Yeah.
And when I go back, then pretty soon the 2 of us are going to go see her sister and the 3 kids. So we're over it. I mean, I'm still doing safety things, my hands have aged so much because of so much sanitizer and washing them all the time, but the deep fear is gone.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the longest that we had been separated.
Yeah.
And I'm probably speaking for my dad here, but we were like most I don't know if I want to say normal, but most people have like a friend or a couple that you hang out with a lot. We became that for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was difficult not to have that regular, if you want to go do something or you want to go out to eat or you want to hang out, that you didn't have that. And then just add everything with COVID on top of it, it just exacerbated it and made it so much worse.
And to answer Shelley, I am super proud of my daughter, and especially her integrity. Like you said, you will get the true scoop from her. She will not pretend, and she won't buffalo just to make you like her, but she also will take care of you. When she says you can DM her, she means it. She will try to make you feel better and help. And Beauty Demon, I would love a job at the CIA, but I'd want to be in charge.
Yeah. Well, I hope, Cheryl, everything gets better for you, and you and your daughter are able to also reconnect.
Oh, you haven't gotten to see her yet, Cheryl?
She lives in Europe, and her daughter's here in the States.
Yeah, that's tough. That is tough. Let's all go to Europe.
Right?
I'd go. I'm ready. Well, I don't know. They're having a new one, so maybe we're not ready. But what's Lisa say? Was it like a normal thing for you?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice you were with your mom for her sake. I'm sure you were a blessing to her.
Yeah, I feel like Cheryl P., a lot of people are kind of getting that way as people are getting vaccinated and feeling more comfortable being out in public and kind of trying to get back into whatever our new normal for society ends up being. A lot of people who were struggling because of isolation or, medical reasons, for whatever reason, you weren't able to really visit people. I've seen people seem a lot more friendly now, a lot more smiley than even pre-COVID, because everybody's so happy to see actual faces and not just people's eyes anymore, to actually feel like you can have a conversation with someone.
I think it made everyone a little bit more appreciative too.
Yeah.
Of family, of friends, of the conveniences we used to have, the feeling of safety that we used to have. I mean, we want it back. And, watching the news, I'm not going there for people's sakes, but we don't know when we're going to feel that way again or if we're going to feel completely that way again. But you just have to encourage each other that small steps help. Like I was never a big shopper, but the first store we went in, I was like, I don't care what it is. Even if it's the dollar store, I'm like, I just want to look at things. I want to touch things. It's just getting back some of those things, being able to go to the movies. I love that they're starting to open. I'm dying to go see a movie. I don't even care what it is now. I'll go see it.
I won't.
I will. She'll never go with me to the movies.
Her
husband will.
Yeah, my patience for movies is I can't go to a theater and watch movies. I think I've told you guys that before. Yeah, you went to an outdoor festival and to see everyone's face was crazy. I felt the same in Vegas. It was just so different and so shocking because we're so used to seeing everyone masked up and, being most places, people while we were in Vegas were still pretty observant of the social distancing aspect, but not everywhere. Did we get lucky?
Yeah, it was great.
Sorry if you guys can hear my dog snoring.
Funny thing, I don't know if any of you had this problem, but okay, the masks don't cover your ears, but I felt like I could never hear anybody. I mean, it's like no matter who talked to me, I felt like I was a rude person, instead of always saying, pardon me, could you repeat that? I always felt like I was going, what? What'd you say? I can't hear you. And my ears were wide open, but the mask kept me from being, with it, I guess.
That makes no sense.
I know. It's true, though. Don't watch. I know. So, oh well. I guess it was just me.
All right. So, yeah. Interesting.
Well, it was true. It's true.
Yeah, the vintage cards may be of value. They might be now.
Oh, yeah.
My mom needs a regular segment. Well,
we live too far away.
We live too far. Maybe in July when we are
at her sister's. Yeah.
I'm depending on how much I pack. I might try to pack my stuff so we can do some stuff.
You can tell I'm really shy about it. So
yeah,
it would be hard to talk me into it.
I don't think anybody else in the family would do it though.
No, it would be me. Annika. Oops. I wasn't supposed to probably say a name, huh? Sorry, delete.
Just don't say her last name.
Okay.
I wouldn't have her on. She's the minor.
No. Mimi would put her on.
No.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Thank you.
You mean Cheryl?
Oh, she said it too. Good. Yay. All right. Yeah. Some support. I'll take it.
Hey, Bob and Carrie. It's good to see you again.
Aw, saying hi to Momma Pants. I've got so many nicknames already. I'm in trouble. What's that?
Yeah, she lives in Florida.
I do, and I don't mind at all.
She does live in Florida.
Yeah.
When I was in Florida, we lived almost the whole time. From the time I moved out, we always at least lived a minimum of 5 minutes. And there was one house that we rented that was about 30 minutes away. But we were always very close.
Yeah. And every week we usually get together on the weekend, and we didn't want to be with anybody but Amanda and her husband. And they always said yes. We were so lucky that way that we could hang as couples, that were also family.
Yeah. We did stay in the Paris.
Yeah, we didn't really, our room wasn't that great.
No.
The Paris was nice, but I went through, can I say the name on here? Probably not.
What?
I went through a company.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay. Yeah, she said don't do that. I went through a company. And everything worked out great, but our room wasn't that. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was more like a regular, room.
Yeah, the casino part and like the part where people walk through if you're not staying there was nice.
Oh, gorgeous. Yeah.
But like their actual rooms were, you could just tell that they were dated.
Yeah, plain.
They were dated, and it was very much like a normal Holiday Inn or something like that. So it could have been better, but how much are you really in your room when you're in Vegas anyways? So off topic.
I wish I could meet some of you guys.
You think Peanut's channel was just terminated?
Whoa.
I have just been introduced to the Peanut channel due to all the Creep Show stuff, which I will probably be doing a live stream. I was going to do it tomorrow, but I think I'm going to do it on Friday. So I just learned about their channel. I saw they were live earlier. What was their full channel name? It wasn't just Peanut. It was Peanut Gallery something, right? I was subscribed, but I don't remember the full name off the top of my head to be able to check. You feel like a lot of hotels on the Strip are like that?
Well, that might make me feel better.
When we stayed in the Bellagio, that one was nicer. Like the Paris didn't even have regular amenities that hotels on the Strip have. Like we had a fridge, but there weren't any like bottles of water or complimentary anything really other than like your toiletries. There was no coffee pot. I mean, things that you even get in a Holiday Inn, they didn't have in the room, which was weird. And I'm not complaining by any means. If you're looking for like a luxury experience, unless you probably get a suite there, I don't think you're going to get it.
Hey, Dr. Ray's coming. I've got 3 daughters now. That's good.
Oh.
And Bonnie gave you John's Peanut Gallery.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay. Oh, I want to meet everybody. I give good hugs too, let me tell you. You're not getting away. Ask my students. I made them hug me every day before they could get out the door. And, the boys, little 3rd or 5th grade boys would try to hold back like they're trying to get away from me. Oh, man, I could act like I didn't see them. They would purposely bump into me to get that hug. Yeah, everybody needs hugs.
I actually don't see their channel anymore, so I'm going to reach out to somebody who may know a little bit more. I don't know if I had followed them on Twitter or not, so hopefully someone can let them know. If not, the person I'm reaching out to will probably know how to get a hold of them.
Oh, yeah. Let's see who's Pippi Longstocking. That is my oldest daughter's favorite character ever. I bet we watched that movie 500 times. And she was Pippi Longstocking at least 2 Halloweens.
I don't remember.
You're a lot younger. Yeah, the Bellagio was gorgeous, but we didn't put the money out for that this time. Oh, Dr. A is going night-night. Good night.
Have a good night. Thanks for joining.
Sue M's in Australia?
Yeah.
I love kangaroos.
She always posts pictures of kangaroos on her Twitter.
Oh, Cheryl P., I miss teaching like anything. That is one of the main things that slid me into depression. I had to retire from my health because of my health, and it tore me up. I lost my passion. I had great friends, a super family, but that was my one passion. And I tried. I could not volunteer in my own school. I still can't walk in the door without breaking down bawling. I volunteered in every other school but it still wasn't the same. You can tell I'm kind of a bossy personality. I wanted to be in charge. I didn't want to be the helper, and it was hard to leave it. I had so much fun with it. I mean, if everybody got 100, they got to bombard me with paper balls, and they'd come on Saturday to do math, and then we, in our pajamas, we have donuts. And I mean, it was just, back then it was fun. It wasn't all these strict, guidelines of check this off on this day. Every kid has to be able to recite what they're learning in English, math, history, and whatever for the day. It was just make them love it, and they learned. They did better in scores then, I believe.
Yeah. She is the kind of person who, if she sees I have to stop her legitimately. This is the only thing that kind of embarrasses me a little bit.
Sure.
Everything else doesn't embarrass me, but there will be a stranger holding a baby and she tries to approach them and starts baby talking their kids. She does it all of the time.
Before COVID.
Yeah, she doesn't do it. She almost did on this trip once, but I caught her before she went too close.
But I have held strangers' babies on a whole plane ride before to help the mother out.
Yeah. I mean, she just gravitates towards children. Xylee, now that you're here, you may know John the Peanut Gallery. I know you've talked about him recently on one of your streams. It's being mentioned in the chat that his channel may have gotten terminated and they were hoping someone could reach out to them. I just subscribed to their channel, so I really don't know any means of contacting them or anything like that. I did try to look up the channel on YouTube and I didn't see it, so I don't know if you have time, if you want to even try to clarify that. I'm sorry. That's how much I know. So,
what's your best advice, Amanda, for first-time foster parents?
I don't even know if I'm necessarily the best person to ask for advice just because I haven't been in that position. From the child's point of view, all I can say is be as open and welcoming and don't push them. I think a lot of foster parents make the mistake that children, when they're put in a home in care, the foster parents so much want to love them and try to heal them from all their trauma. And the reality is that's not going to happen. You have to allow them to work through what they have to on their own time. And of course, age is a depending factor as well, but let them work through it. Don't be overbearing, but also be there enough. And don't feel like you're doing something wrong because they don't come to you. Because like my mom said earlier, she didn't even know some of the things that I experienced and the feelings I had from everything that we had been through. So there are some things that children in foster care or children who get adopted, they're never going to be comfortable talking about to certain people or at all. Some people, I've known other adoptees and they almost ignore the fact that they're adopted and they don't ever address that. And it ends up causing further issues with them as adults down the road. But don't ever pressure kids to talk if they're not ready to talk. Just be there, let them know that you're there, and always just be comforting. Let them feel welcome, and that's just about the best that you can do.
That's true.
So, when did you know you wanted to keep her as your own?
Well, I didn't ever do any fostering, so she wasn't going back before she even got there. We told the people that we will not foster, we will only adopt. And the day she comes to our house, you're never getting her back, because I couldn't do that. Just like with the dog, I can't love somebody and then let them go.
Yeah.
To grow up, that kind, yes, but even then I don't want to a whole lot. But yeah, and I didn't know her really either.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't spent very much time together. It was just kind of like, you need me, I want you, we'll just wing it, but I had no idea some of the things she thought. I was so naive to think, if I just love her enough, she'll love me. Well, you can't make a 10-year-old love you instantly, because number one, they have to feel safe and they have to feel like they belong and want to belong. And I wasn't getting it. And it was my husband who kept telling me, and those of you that are into the horoscope probably already figured out I'm an Aries, and had to tell me, it's not all about you, Patsy. It's not. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have a degree in psychology and education, but yeah, I just kept thinking if I just keep flowering her with love, she'd love me. And really, I probably needed to step back and just let it come naturally. And it did.
That's amazing, stitching with the sisterlies. And I can't remember who, but someone else also stated that they've adopted.
Aww.
I've said before when we've talked about adoption that anyone who does adopt and anyone who is a foster parent and fellow adoptees. You guys all have a special place in my heart. I know how hard it is. So, well, Xylee and Beauty Demon, keep us posted. Let us know what's going on if you guys get any answers. That's really unfortunate if her channel got taken from her. Did you teach each child to the way they learn? And what grade did you teach?
Absolutely. That was the good way. My best friend at the time, she's passed now, but she was the greatest teaching mentor ever, 14 years older than me. And it was all about getting on the floor and being real and making every day fun. And they did learn better that way. Mm-hmm. And everything was at their speed. Like, you didn't get the same 20 spelling words. Every week you got what words you have been misspelling in your papers and maybe some new science, and then ones you wanted. You didn't have to write 50 times words you already knew how to spell. That's just one example. But the same thing with math and reading and so forth. It is better that way. And I wish there was still more of that being done.
Yeah, and I will say, and I know I'm biased anyways because she's my mom, but before then, going to school, because where she taught was the same area clearly that I went to school in. And once it became like known that I was her daughter, I would have people I didn't even know, kids younger than me, kids older than me, that would see me and just know me by association and ask, don't even care about me, just ask how my mom is doing. Is she okay? Make sure you tell your mom that, she was a great teacher and she changed my life. So everybody who I ever came in contact with that she taught really did take something away from her as a teacher.
Thank you.
Yep. I was 10 when I was adopted.
Well, she actually came to live with us when she was 10 and a half. And it was like a 6-month wait. And so she was actually 11 when she actually became officially ours.
And I am the only adopted child. My siblings are biological to her. What's the process of adopting a foster child? So your classes and everything, like what did you have to do?
Oh, okay. All right. Wake me up. Really, I think it went quickly for my husband and I because he was military and I was a state teacher. So we were already vetted and fingerprinted and, had clearance. But the classes were the same. And the classes were really good because, we were naive, like, we got 2 kids already. We know what we're doing. Totally different story with what they have already gone through and need to deal with and to feel like a united family. So, but it wasn't that lengthy,
I don't remember.
And somebody asked, like, when I had her in the last part of 3rd grade, did you know then you would adopt her, Cheryl P? And no clue. No clue at all. Never thought she was going to be mine. The neat thing about it is she's Catholic, and her foster mom asked if I wanted to go to her first communion, never knowing she was going to be my own daughter. And this still warms my heart. Mm-hmm. And I went just to support her. And then she ended up being my little girl. And I have the picture of us in her little communion dress, which I would not have had I not gone as, quote, her teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yes, stitching with the sisterlies. I was in foster care for the first 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
I was not in any one foster home. I was moved a lot. So I was all over the place. I had been in a stable foster home for about 2 years before I got adopted. So let's see.
Oh, look at Pippi was in foster care too.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still friends? Oh, but do you see her foster mom has dementia but knew your name. So you were loved by her to be remembered with that condition.
Yeah, my last foster mom before I was adopted. She's still a friend to my mom.
Yes.
She's still around in the family. So I do know her. I'm not going to state her name for her privacy, but we know her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Sue does also is saying, if you have any interest and you haven't watched, I do have 2 different playlists on my channel. They're the reasons why I created my channel, was to tell my story. I just so happened to end up in commentary. That's not what I ended up getting on YouTube for any reason. I've said this a couple of times, so I'll try to iron it down short for people who have heard it before. But when we moved here, there's really no family here for us. There's nothing here where we're at. So I also got a job, but I didn't get a job working with children like I had previously and I wanted. So I ended up feeling not only homesick, but I felt that something was missing.
Her passion.
So I've always watched YouTube. You can check on my channel. My channel has been created since like 2012. That's how long I've been a viewer of YouTube. And so I was talking to my husband, and I even talked to my mom and my dad. And I was like, I really want to do some kind of like motivational speaking for kids that are in the system, or for parents, just to maybe hear somebody's story in detail, just to maybe know what it's like. And I couldn't think of any jobs and I'm sure these jobs do exist somewhere, but I couldn't find any here that related to that. So I decided one day I was going to set up my phone and I was just going to start telling my story and hope that it connected with somebody. And then everything with the Stoffers happened.
Oh,
and that's really how I ended up in commentary. Is everything with the Stoffers. And then I started watching other people who are covering the Stoffers, and then I saw things that I wanted to commentate on, and then people really enjoyed my perspective and how I often try to come as unbiased as I can. Now, we all have biases in certain aspects, but I do always try to at least play devil's advocate for the opposing opinion of mine.
You do.
So that's really how I've ended up in commentary. I created my channel first, and I wasn't even really knowing if I was going to continue doing my YouTube channel or if I was going to leave it at that. And then it's just kind of snowballed to where we're at now. And, I appreciate every single one of you guys who have supported me.
I do too.
For
warms my heart.
However long, whether it's been, a second, a minute, an hour, a day, whatever it is, I appreciate you guys. Because at this point, you guys...
Oh, she's getting a little teary-eyed.
No, I'm not.
You look a little teary-eyed.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So at this point, you guys are really what has continued my motivation to keep doing this. And to continue to, talk about stuff. But I would watch it either way, but to actually sit down and have conversations with you guys, I come back now for you guys.
Okay, I'm going to a question from Lisa. Okay. Do you ever feel like you let her get away with more? Yes. And not so much trying to show favoritism or unconditional love. It's knowing she didn't have the first 10 years what the other 2 had. Just like my husband's upbringing was a lot harder. And that's why he got her quicker than me. And mine was cream puff. I hate to admit it, I actually felt guilty before. It was, really easy. And I knew my other 2 kids had it easy because I raised them the whole time. So it's like, they have their things they make fun of me about. Like, I'll have to share one. All the women in my family have learned to do a dirty look, a mom dirty look. And I bet a lot of you know your mom's dirty look from growing up.
I think everybody does.
And and my kids call it, and granted, I'm like this. I don't have a temper. I'm always like this. They call it the scowl to the depths of their very soul.
It's not
my
pretty.
Dirty look.
if we get it, we're automatically know that we're in deep shit, and it doesn't happen often. So when you do get it, you know you better run.
And not run, you're going to get paddled. Run, you don't want to hear the lecture of why we don't do this.
Yeah.
Again.
Bonnie, you asked why foster children are moved so much. There's a multitude of reasons as to why children get moved. It can be behavioral, which was often really why I ended up being removed from some of my foster homes. I acted out a lot as a child. Even when I was new with them, I really was not the easiest child to work with. So some of it is on the child because the family can't handle it, whether they have other foster kids or their own kids in the home, or they just don't have the skills to maneuver some behaviors. That can be a reason. Another reason is foster homes are licensed typically through whatever agency you have, and they're licensed for particular ages and for particular things. There are like special needs licensed foster homes for children with particular special needs. There's so many factors. It also depends on the children, what kind of trauma and the reason that they got removed can affect what kind of home they can go in for like SA victims and things like that. They have to go to particular homes. And sometimes it's just a matter of the foster parents leaving. Where we're from is a high military area, and a lot of foster parents were military. So if they got orders, foster kids couldn't go with them. So you would end up being replaced for that reason as well. It's very different based off of your community as well as to why children will get moved more often. There is always a need for foster parents as well. There's never enough foster parents available. So thank you for the compliments on the hair, guys. I see them continue to roll in.
Hey, Bob and Carrie, my heart melts for you. Shows what a good job you've done raising your son. They're going to do wonderful with those kids. I think that's incredible. Happy for your family.
When you acted out, what did you hope would happen? I don't know.
Changing a home? Were you trying to get out of there? Am I just not finding this out too? Bob and Carrie, keep asking her questions. I want to know more.
I really don't know why I acted out. I think it was because when I was in care, I think a lot of it was because I wasn't getting attention, and that was my way of trying to get attention. Once I was adopted, I think my acting out was more testing their limits to see how long I was going to be able to stay, if it was going to be real, more struggling with the aspect of I may have my forever and I'm testing my forever because I've never had it before. Yeah. And that's all based off of what I can assume, based off of the few things that I can remember. That's the best explanation I can really give.
And in fairness to Amanda, she actually came into our family at the absolute worst time. I was a daddy's girl. And on our last class, her foster mom came to pull me out of the class, and my dad had dropped dead just suddenly through a blood clot. And he was my person, the person that made me feel whole. So Amanda came into us right after that. And I not only was suffering my own loss, but then I had my mother who was suffering, and she didn't live by us. You know, she was a good 8 hours away. So it was a highly emotional time, and I probably did not pick up on her needs or her fear like I could have or should have.
Yeah. How old was I when I realized I was going to stay forever? Probably my junior year. My junior and senior year, really, when...
With that fight.
Yep. After that fight, I think it really solidified that I wasn't going to be able to just do whatever the hell I wanted and get away with it, that I was going to be held accountable, since we use that all the time, that I was going to be held accountable and taught, right from wrong. I very much learned my morals and my values older in life. Most kids, when you're in a quote unquote normal household, you're learning your values and your morals and your ethics as soon as you're able to understand those. Children in foster care often don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
Foster parents do all that they can, but you never know how long you're going to have. So I really didn't learn a lot of that and how to behave appropriately. I really didn't learn any of that until I was older.
I mean, with that fight, I flat out told her, you can't leave. I'm not letting you go. I even was so bad, I told her, I don't care if you kill somebody. I'm still going to love you and I'm going to keep you. I mean, that's how desperate I guess I was, but I just laid it out that way. Somebody asked about the ages of your siblings when you moved in. Her brother was 5, she was 10 and a half, and Christy would have been...
She's 8 years older than me.
So she would be 18 going on 19.
Yeah.
So big, my kids are spread out. Big gaps.
Yeah.
Some lost in between, but big gaps. We missed somebody else's too. Oh, back to Pippi. Do you have any suggestions for a strong-willed, do what they want, sleep all day, up all night teenager? Let me tell you the only thing that really worked on Miss Amanda. Okay, I thought grounding, same old thing. Making them clean more for no money, nah. Take things out of their room, TV, whatever. No, you know what did it? Take their bedroom door off. They want privacy more than anything else in the world. And I have shared this with a great many people that have teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not being bad because they can always change their clothes in a locked bathroom, but they want that privacy. I mean, it took one day before that door went back on, and then never again. It was over.
Mm-hmm.
Our struggles were over. Take that door off.
Yep. I don't know if we missed any others.
Yeah, we're trying, but I talk too much.
If anybody put in a question and we didn't answer it, feel free to retype it. I'm going to try to scroll up and see if we see any. Tammy, you've been there, done that? Yeah. I mean, if you have an unruly teen, depending on the behaviors that they're displaying, I would say that that's probably a surefire way to really see if privacy is an issue or if it's something else. I don't see where we've lost any.
I hope not. Oh, and we don't feel bad about that brat teen thing because it wasn't too many years ago when we were having a holiday together and they said something about, oh, well, you didn't really like so-and-so when they were in middle school. And they laughed, the other 2 kids. And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't like any of you in middle school. You were little brats. And they just thought it was hilarious. And they go, no, really, Mom. I go, no, I didn't like any of you.
Yeah.
Mine didn't push me in high school so much. They were like back to being humans and loving and respectful again. But middle school was kind of like, oh my gosh, it was dumb stuff. Like, I know her brother will kill me, but you could say, there's 10 grapes left. Why don't you just finish them? He'd say, you lied. There's only 8. Stuff like that. They want to correct you over the dumbest stuff at that time period. I'm like, okay, there's 8. I lied. All right. Are we good? Did you find our other person's thing?
13-year-olds are the worst.
Yeah. And don't feel bad about it. They probably are. And once they get to 4th grade, those boys stink. So it's okay to say that too. It's time to get the deodorant. I had to let everybody keep a deodorant stick in a plastic tote in my classroom. So when we came in from PE, I set them in to coat up.
I'm not sure what's going on with Peanut. It seems that Xylie's reached out to her and she hasn't responded yet. So I don't know if we'll find out here or if we'll have to find out later. We did get a couple of questions on the community post I did a couple of days ago. So I'm going to read through those and see if we had any that we haven't answered already.
Lisa, I like your mom's comment. Stitching, they do stink, don't they? You have to just call it like it is.
All right, so we've got quite a few from Michelle. I don't know if she's here right now, so maybe.
Did we miss her?
No, I don't know. She's another one who's doesn't live in the U.S. So we'll see. I did not without a jelly donut.
Where are we?
Not to Kate. I honestly, guys, seriously, when I said I stepped away from Katie, I only see her stuff if someone I'm following on Twitter posts it. And honestly, most of the time, if it's dealing with her, I do just scroll by because it's her pattern of behavior by now. I don't see that changing. And I mean, I'll mention it when we do the live stream talking about everything. My live stream on Friday will probably be relatively long because it is my plan to cover everything that's happened. You know, my video that I did last week really just did the introduction from the lolcow stuff. So my live stream that I'm going to have with you guys is going to be covering everything that's come out since. You can ask her. I have done nothing but catch up and figure out what goes where and go down each rabbit hole. So I know she is a part of it, but that topic, when I get to that, will be pretty limited, to be honest, because I don't want to get sucked back into her problematic ways. So she asked if you could change any one thing about the adoption process, what would it be?
Well, hopefully it has changed by now, but when Amanda was in foster care, it was supposed to be a maximum of 3 years. And if your parent or parents don't get their act together by then you can be adopted. And they made her wait 10 and a half. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that happened, but that's horrible. And they're supposed to do a lengthier time period of getting the child used to the home and those in the home used to her. And they didn't do that with us. And I think that made it 10 times harder on Amanda, if not more. You know, we didn't do the usual come for an evening, come for a Saturday play date, then one overnight, then a weekend. She was brought over at 8:30 at night. It was like, and just left with us. And we were leaving first thing in the morning to drive to Disney World. But how shocking was that? She had never left the area in her life. You know, she had to come in and go to bed and then be awakened at the crack of dawn to get going. And I mean, shocking, just shocking for her poor little heart. And, you know, they didn't know if we were going to be nice to her. They really didn't, you know. You would hope, but you don't know. Someone should have been checking on her. So I would hope that all of those things are in place better. And I can say that in Florida where we're at, they have changed because I didn't work in the same exact place, but very close. And Florida CPS is ran by the state. And so the laws have definitely changed. There's a lot more strict regulations. Cheryl, I don't want to miss your super chat. Thank you so much. You know, you didn't need to do that, but I really do appreciate it. I do too. The laws have changed where parents are given what's called a safety plan to work, and then they're given a case plan, an ongoing case manager to work with them to mitigate whatever safety issue is there for the children or child to be removed. And they have a year to work that and remedy whatever the concern was. Some judges will exceed that year, but at that point, if the parents haven't already totally failed their plan, for a lack of a better term, and have already been adopted, by that point, they do cease the parent's ability to continue to work that, and they start going towards terminating the parent's rights. If you guys want more information about that, I'm always open to having those kinds of conversations with you guys to help
reduce some stigma and educate people about how CPS operates. Michelle is back, so we'll go ahead and answer these other questions for her. What is your favorite memory about the first year that I joined the family?
I think the one that hits me first is kind of superficial, but it warmed my heart so much. I still loved it. And that was when my dad didn't know he was going to die, but something makes me think that God lets you know, because he was supposed to come up a week later with my mom to meet Amanda. And what happened, and she wasn't living with us yet. We had just, told her and told them we were going to adopt him. And he came running. And I said, Dad. And he goes, I can only stay 2 days and I got to get back. And I said, well, come next week when you can stay the whole week. And he goes, no, I got to meet my new little girl. And when he was here, because he knew she had never been anywhere and she'd never had anything, whatever, he planned out a whole trip to Disney World for that Christmas. Mm-hmm. Got the rooms, all the tickets, everything. And then he left. And as soon as he got out of the car, walked in the door, he dropped dead. And because of his wishes, we decided to go anyway. And she was on, even though she was 10 and a half, she was on her dad's shoulders watching like the Disney parade. And her dad had never been either, because he had kind of a limited childhood. And seeing their two eyes light up and how big they were, mm-hmm. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. Just
like the possibilities and, just what somebody might think is simple was such a big thing to them. And it was great.
Yeah. Thank you, Tammy, as well, for the super chat. That's super sweet of you.
Oh, yes.
I also want to add the caveat, and usually I do before I ever talk about anything to do with my childhood. I understand that things like this make people want to feel sympathetic. I really ask that you don't feel sympathetic for me, because there are children out there that experience a whole hell of a lot worse than what I did. And I'm not saying what I went through isn't bad as well, but I'm one who's made it. I'm one who got lucky.
We got lucky.
From working with the department, I know children who age out and who it ends up being a generational thing. So I never want people to feel sympathy for what I've experienced. I prefer people to know, just so you can understand why I may be certain ways personally, but always focus on the better side of it. That, I ended up having a good, stable, loving environment, was able to be shaped into a decent person.
But it's okay if you feel that for her, because some of us just have too much empathy, and that's going to happen.
I saw another question asking how CPS is ran. It depends. It depends by the state. In Florida, it's ran by the state. It's called the Department of Children and Families, and it's state ran. Here in Utah, it's not ran by the state. It's ran by like counties and stuff like that. So it's different everywhere. That's why whenever I talk about CPS and talk about investigative work in child welfare, I always say it's different. It very much aligns often, but it is different. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you were able to be here and experience it. And Nat, thank you so much. You both, you all know you don't need to, but it is genuinely appreciated. So we've got, Michelle had left a few more questions. Let's get through hers. What's the proudest moment so far of what I've achieved? I feel weird asking these questions. But
no, that's okay. There are so many, truly. There really are so many. But probably my biggest takeaway is that she owns her life. Just like she said that about the sympathy feeling for her. She never uses it as an excuse of what she went through. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do that. I don't think I could do that. I mean, I look up to her so much for how she lives her life and goes to battle for other people. I mean, you would think she had been blessed with the greatest thing of all, that she wants to take care of others, but it's from the opposite. She knows what it's like not to be taken care of or loved unconditionally, and everyone deserves that. I don't care if you're a baby, a child, or you're 90 or an animal. We all need that. It's like a joke in our family that if you're not under 12 and over 72 or a dog, you're blank out of luck with mom, because we are caretakers, and she's done that on her own. It isn't what we gave her, is what she made of herself and what she wants to be known for. Like, she's a whole lot more serious on this. And one, it's because she's more protective of her heart than me. My heart hasn't been broken. So I love anybody. Come on. And this is her passion, is to help others, so that's probably the number one thing, but there are many. I'm also proud that she became such a great writer, because she had no writing skills at all. And I have another friend to thank for that. But I mean, this girl can write now, let me tell you.
Let's see. What's the next question? What's the funniest memory you have from when your children were all young?
Oh, good Lord. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Funniest memory from when you were all little.
One whenever we were in the
hotel.
Yep.
We have a problem. You don't want to get me laughing too hard.
This may be TMI for some people. It depends on.
I will wet my pants. And her brother will block me from getting to the bathroom in time. He doesn't matter how much has to be cleaned up, what we're doing, who's in the house, but we all have this problem. I'm known by my grandchildren that if you get Mimi laughing too hard, she's going to wet. They love it. I have been videotaped, pictures, everybody knows. And somebody got it from me. And when we get tickled, tickled meaning emotionally, but tickled physically too. And if somebody else in the family traps us, it's going to happen. And what happened to her, the kids were wrestling. We had taken them to New Orleans for tours more than not the wild stuff, because they were little. And they got to wrestling, and you tell the rest.
So you know how in some hotels, the beds are super close to the wall?
Mm-hmm.
I was tiny then. So this bed was like this far from the wall. And didn't you wet first?
Oh, I always wet first. That's a given.
Yeah.
No, I might have been second this time. I
don't remember the order. It ended up being a lot of us ended up wetting ourselves, but I may have started it. Oh, I did start it. We were sitting playing Uno, Christy and I can't remember what happened, but I got pushed back, or I fell back, and I ended up sandwiched in between the mattress and the wall, and I was laughing because it was funny.
And nobody would help her out.
Nobody.
We don't do that. We don't help.
Everybody we're all just laughing, and I hadn't used the restroom soon enough, so I peed myself, and because of how I was stuck, it actually went all the way up my back. And I mean, I was not that young. I was like a teenager when this happened. And then because that happened, no one would still help me. Even after I said I had wet myself,
we're
no
not
one
helping.
would help me.
Yeah, we're not helping.
Which made, I think you pee or Christy pee.
Well, both of us.
All three of the women in the family ended up having to take a shower because we just all thought it was hilarious. We're the kind of family that when you get us laughing, even if one of us says something that's not really funny, but one person thinks it's funny, we all end up like hysterically laughing about it for whatever reason. So that's the funniest one. I mean,
we play a lot of cards and games, and I usually start the trouble. I may start throwing peanuts at them or M&Ms, and then we all will end up having a food fight, and then we wet. I'm real mature.
I'll know the answer to this one. If you take me anywhere in the world on vacation, where would you go and why?
You say.
She would take me to Paris because I was born there. That's why.
And we want to experience it together.
Mm-hmm. Her last question is, adopting a child at age 10 is a huge decision and a challenge for any family. What advice would you give to someone considering adoption?
Okay, I'm going to be real with you like Amanda does.
Mm-hmm.
We were told by many, many people, do not adopt a child over 3. And they say that they give that logic in personality classes because their personality is formed by whoever has been instrumental in raising them during that time period. I don't personally believe it. One, I got Amanda, but every child deserves the same chance, and really they're going to be more appreciative and grateful, than a child that may never know what you did to bring them in. I mean, you just have to realize that they're facing the same things your middle school, high school kids face too, but it's compounded by the fact they've only been in foster care and, hadn't been adopted before. So they just have double the drama going on.
Okay. And Squirrely Squirrel had left very similar questions, so we're not going to go into that. I don't know if you have a funniest different memory of just me that I can't think of.
Oh, geez.
I don't care.
I don't know. I don't know. Something you did or said? I think I'm stymied. I'm stymied there. Because usually our stuff is all group stuff.
We're very much a family that's together.
Oh, probably wrestling. Like, they all would wrestle in my bed. And Christy, Amanda, I'm saying all the names, but all my kids would come wrestle me in my big king-size bed. And especially when Dad was gone on trips with the military. And the last time they did it, they broke it. I mean, broke it. I have literally cement blocks underneath my bed. It had been jumped on so many times. Yeah, still.
No, you guys can continue asking questions. I was just reading the community post ones because I wanted to make sure I got everybody's questions answered. But you, Keeping Up with KP asks, what's our favorite family inside joke? We have so many.
Oh.
There's so many.
Well, we could show them what.
No.
No.
I'm not showing anything.
Oh, come on.
I don't know which one you're
show them what animal we are.
No, we are not doing that.
Oh,
that is more Dad. That is more Dad than me.
Ah. All right, another day. She don't want me to share that one. I could just do it anyway. Before we come on, I always am making goofy faces, and she's always threatening that she's going to turn it on early so I get caught. Do you think I would really be upset by it?
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not. I like the attention. Okay, family inside joke.
Everything's Jake's fault. That's
yes,
between us.
Yes. When we were welcoming her husband into the family, he is like the sweetest man in the world.
Don't give too much away.
Okay, he's all pro-family. I mean, just pro-family. And called me Mom from day one. And to make him, relax, because he's trying to be so perfect, even though he is perfect. But we would always say everything that happened was his fault. Whether somebody tooted, something was forgotten, lost, dropped, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we would also pin him and tickle him because we couldn't take it. We were bad. I mean, you have to really want in this family, because you get in this family, you are stuck. You're really stuck.
Yeah.
We're not letting you go.
All right. Does anybody have any last questions? Again, same criteria. Me, her, family questions, any kind of questions. If we don't get any roll in, we're going to hop off of here. So I do appreciate everybody who's come out and has asked some questions. And
yeah, it was really nice.
if there's been, I know we've talked about a couple of different things that people seem to have questions about. If you guys want me to do a live stream where we talk about just different processes of adoption or just adoption and CPS, I used to put those in the Friday polls, but I stopped doing that because there were so many other topics that you guys were asking for me to include in that you guys wanted to talk about. So I didn't want to continue to insert those time and time again. I know they are ones that people do like to talk about. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Probably Friday evening around this time is when we'll do the live stream for the creep show stuff. And if not, it'll be on Saturday. I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter and on my community page. Tomorrow we just have a few too many small things planned that I don't want to risk getting on a stream to discuss everything and having to cut short, because I want to get caught up with my thoughts with everyone. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking me what my opinions are. Looks like you have one more question. Do you keep in contact with former students?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I've gone to their weddings, their baby showers, their kids' birthdays, their graduations.
Mm-hmm.
My last class I taught graduated high school several years ago now, but what was fun to do with them was I kept all their pictures and cards and everything they made me. And when I wrote their card and put money in it, I also put all the things they had given to me, and they loved that.
It's a good idea.
Everything they had written me, every whatever. It was a pretty special time.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up everything. I appreciate...
Hug each other. Lisa says we have to hug each other.
I hope you guys all have a good rest of your evening, and I will see you guys next time.
And I won't, but I love you. Are you gone? Bye, guys.